Now, in a special edition of 4 News Now, breaking news in the heart of the city. Within the last 10 minutes, Spokane police fired what we believe to be pepper spray into a crowd to try to break up 2 different protests that combined into one. And moments later, some kind of smoke filled the air. Our reporters and photographers on the scene were all affected by it.
And the first protest that we saw started several hours ago. We want to go right to our team coverage now with Marissa Rio and Mary Sheridan. Marissa Rio, we want to start with you first because you did have a bit of a coughing fit just moments ago from what we believe was pepper spray.
That's right, Derek and Kirsten. We have the Spokane County Sheriff's Office here, Spokane Police and SWAT. And like you mentioned, something was deployed into this crowd minutes ago. It was smoke in the air. It was a little bit hard to breathe in this area. Now, multiple people have been detained here at this scene. It's gotten a lot bigger. That's why we were pushed back because of that other protest that has met up with this protest. Now, on the intercom, Spokane Police has been warning people that this is an unlawful assembly and that they are asking people to leave. It's just getting bigger. So a few people have left, but for the most part, a lot of people have stayed here. We are still on the scene and we've been here since 2 p.m.
Yeah, and Marissa, this all started with a protest of the detention of 2 men by ICE. We saw former Spokane City Councilman Ben Stuckert sitting in front of an ICE vehicle earlier this afternoon. And then, within the last half hour, we saw him being taken away by police.
Yeah, so this all started because the former city council member Ben Stuckert said that he had taken legal guardianship of a Venezuelan man who was seeking asylum here in the United States. I want you to take a look at the bus that was here earlier. Now, that red car was blocking the bus that the Venezuelan man was supposed to get in. Someone put on paint on that driver's side of the windshield, and we did see Ben Stuckert just maybe within the last hour being detained by police and being taken away from the scene. He said that they were here for a regular ICE check, and that's when the Venezuelan man was detained.
And Marissa, we've been watching in the last 20 minutes or so 10, 12, 15, a lot of people being taken away in handcuffs. We're looking at that footage right now. What can you tell us about the number of protesters that have been handcuffed?
Yeah, it's been several of them, Kirsten. A lot of them were interlocking their arms around this red bus that is over here. It's behind this BARC sign. They were blocking the bus, thinking that the Venezuelan man was going to be taken into this bus, so they were blocking that bus. They were all in these streets, and that's when police started to detain several protesters here.
Yeah, and Marissa, we really saw this thing grow in size, the protests, in terms of number of people showing up within the last couple of hours. Did you get a sense for just the tension building throughout that time?
Yes, in fact, it started to build up, and then they started thinking that the ICE agents were going to take the Venezuelan man on the other end. And so that's when people started interlocking their arm around that gate, and then more people started to show up. We saw some agents try to get them out by pushing some of those protesters out of that gated area. It's continued to grow over these past hours. Like you said, the tensions are getting higher and higher as we go. Like you had mentioned, there was some sort of gas deployed in this area. What felt like pepper spray was also sprayed out as an ICE agent was trying to detain 2 people here on the street over in this way.
And Mary, like Derek just mentioned, this has grown in size just in the last hour. We do want to go to Mary Sheridan now, who was at a separate protest that was pre-planned near the Red Wagon, near Riverfront Park, and since has marched over to where Marissa is in a different location. So Mary, what can you tell us from your vantage point?
Right, Kirsten. So as you mentioned, part of this protest did begin at near Riverfront Park at the Red Wagon. We were able to keep pace with them as they began to march towards this protest around 7:30. They marched through downtown Spokane, past the pavilion, down the Centennial Trail before merging with this existing protest here on Washington. I want you to take a look. You can see some police cars blocking off Washington over towards Boone. And when we were downtown, Washington was also blocked off at Spokane Falls Boulevard. Now, I spoke with the protesters' organizer who told me that the point of this is to be in solidarity with the immigrant community around the nation, in solidarity with the other protests happening around the country. And I did hear a few people mentioning as we were walking in about putting on wet masks, putting on things to help them breathe just in case, for people who are deeper inside of the protest. But we're continuing to monitor these conditions as we're here right now.
Yeah, and Mary, let me ask you, so you were near the Red Wagon in Riverfront Park, and then there obviously was, because this was a pre-planned protest, there must have been some sort of conversation among the protesters. Hey, right up the street up Washington there, they're protesting another ICE-related situation, and then they just decided to merge? Is that, it must have just happened kind of spur of the moment, right?
Right. Derek, I'll tell you, there was a lot of chanting. Everyone started to gather near the water, and then it just began as a large group walking through, like I said, downtown Spokane, past the pavilion, over the bridge, and now here on Washington.
Now, Mary, from where you are, we just heard from Marissa Rio, kind of on the other side of that building near Boone Avenue. Have you experienced any of that smoke or smelled anything in the air? We know that there were some sounds that Marissa heard as well.
Right. We did hear a loud bang, and then a lot of protesters began to run from the area. We were able to move a ways back, but the air was a little bit foggy. It did feel a little bit like it kind of stung when you took a breath in, but we're not sure what was dispersed, but the air was smoky after that bang.
All right. Well, Mary, we're so glad that you, Marissa, and our two photographers on the scene are all okay and safe being near these two protests that merged into one.
That's right. And we're going to continue to come back and hear from our reporters and photographers on the scene here tonight. We do want to give you a look at our weather as we move into the Thursday.
Yeah.
Coming closer to the weekend.
Temperatures cooling off a little bit. Here's Chris Crocker to tell us about that mild Thursday.
Yes, here are 4 things to know about your weather. We'll be cooling into the weekend. Temperatures still above average, breezy conditions with the possibility of some mountain thunderstorms. The fire danger will stay elevated because it has been 2 weeks since we've had measurable rain in Spokane. High temperatures today down from the record 90s of the past 2 days. 84 in Spokane was the high. 88 in Coeur d'Alene. Now you'll notice some cooler weather down in Pullman and Lewiston. That's where we have had some clouds and even some isolated showers. Tomorrow's highs will be a little bit cooler than today, but still about 10 degrees above average. 81 in Spokane, 80 in Coeur d'Alene, and right around the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area, 70s for Spirit Lake. Airway Heights and Spangle, but 80s elsewhere around the region. In your day planner for tomorrow, 58 to start the day, mostly sunny skies. We'll see an increase in clouds at time. Breezy in the afternoon, wind gusts to 20 miles per hour. I'll be back with your 7-day forecast, Eric.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. The 2025 NBA Finals, which many of you just watched here on 4 News Now moments ago, continued between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
And we have sports director Jack Wallace in studio now, here to break down a thrilling Game 3 in Indianapolis.
Another thriller. How about that? Indiana winning Game 1 in a miracle comeback. OKC following it up with a dominant Game 2. And tonight for round 3, we went wire to wire with Indy taking the 2-1 lead. OKC had a strong 7-point lead in the first quarter, but watch Chet Holmgren driving up to the paint, the slam, making it 9. Thunder are rolling to start, but Indy would strike back quickly. Tyrese Haliburton, the hero of Game 1, back to Obi Toppin. This bucket is good. Watch Reggie Miller in the crowd. He's loving it. Tie game at 39, second quarter pass rotated around. Andrew Nembhard, you know him, you love him. Former Zag. Easy from deep. Indiana takes the lead. 3.5 to go. MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Beautiful floater. Just drops in. Thunder tie at 51. Pacers reply. Another deep shot. They score 40 in the second frame. 8th team since 1998 to do that in a finals game. Second half, Haliburton wide open. Ice cold. Indy again in front. This crowd going berserk. Last few seconds of the third quarter, Jalen Williams launching to beat the buzzer. OKC is now in front. Thunder by 1 in the fourth. Benedict Mathurin, 25 points in the game on real performance in Indiana. Now starting to pull away late. Aaron Nesmith with the triple. Incredible. Indiana ends up winning Game 3.
All right, thanks so much, Jack. And we do want to update you on our breaking news. We are just hearing into the newsroom that Mayor Lisa Brown has declared a state of emergency, and there is a curfew in effect starting at 9:30 p.m.
Yep, lasting, I believe, until 5 a.m. So there you go.
Big changes coming throughout this last hour that we've seen here in downtown Spokane. But earlier today, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office held a press conference about the search for triple murder suspect Travis Decker.
Sheriff Mike Morrison says the search continues as we near the 2-week mark since Decker's daughters were found dead at a remote campsite. The Chelan County Medical Examiner says the little girls, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia, died from asphyxiation. Their bodies were found at the Rock Island Campground in the Cascade Mountains, about 18 miles west of Leavenworth. That's where the search has focused for the last 12 days. Searchers have swept the area to the north and to the south, where a solitary hiker spotted in the Enchantments caught their attention. The last couple of days, the search has focused in the Ingalls Creek area off of Blewett Pass, south of the murder scene. Today, people living in the area were told they can go about their regular activities, but they should be vigilant and report anything suspicious. Sheriff Morrison had a message for Decker.
Every single day Travis is out there, he's going to have to aim for perfection. He's not going to be able to make a mistake, because all we need is one mistake and one day to go in our favor, and he's going to be in our custody. So I hope he's watching. I hope he knows that we haven't given up, but you're going to have to be perfect every single day, Travis. We only have to be perfect one day.
Sheriff Morrison says the law enforcement team is changing its tactics in an effort to catch Decker. He says the hardest part of the search is the rugged terrain, but tourism can actually work in their favor. He says tourists hiking and sightseeing in the area should contact 911 with any sightings. If you'd like to watch Sheriff Morrison's entire press conference, we'll have it posted for you as soon as possible on KXLY.com. We'll be right back.
Connect with 4 News Now on KXLY+.
4 News Now is brought to you by R&R RV.
At 4 News Now, we believe you should expect more from local news. Our team is committed to a community conversation and bringing you information you need when and where you need it. Numerica believes in and supports that mission.
Saved is a lifetime earned. Numerica Credit Union. Money where it matters.
If your windows, entry door, or patio doors haven't been checked in years, they could be costing you. Schedule a complimentary consultation from Renewal by Andersen. We'll take a look at your current windows and doors and check for drafts. We can also use a heat lamp test to identify exactly where energy might be escaping. You'll get thoughtful recommendations, and you can even preview new styles right in your space. Schedule a complimentary consultation with us today.
Life is an opportunity to grow, to feel, to excel. Life moves at its own pace, daring you to keep up. Life pushes you to be better and to go farther. Life has you here. We're just here to help.
It's the Click It RV Roll Into Summer sales event going on now at your local Click It RV store with huge manufacturers discounts from Forest River, StarCraft, and more. Get $0 down, nothing, and no payments for 6 months. And get top dollar for your trade. And talk about giveaways. Win a StarCraft trailer or $30,000 in cash. You can beat the coming tariffs, but nobody beats a Click It RV deal. We guarantee it. So don't miss the Roll Into Summer sales event at your local Click It RV store. Spokane, Milton, Freewater, Moses Lake, and Union Gap.
Whoa, this Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. Hey, honey, how's the Wi-Fi?
It's booming.
Kids? Booming!
Booming!
Stream in peace!
Oh, she's a booming!
Hey, oil guys!
Booming!
Tech founders!
Booming! The Wi-Fi is booming!
Boom! Booming! Wi-Fi!
It's really booming!
Get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best equipment with unlimited data included, all for one price for 5 years.
The Wi-Fi is booming!
All right, we want to continue following our breaking news. As we just told you before we went to break, Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown has announced a curfew because of the protests that have happened near Washington and Cataldo on the north bank of the Spokane River just this afternoon.
That's right. And so basically when this happens, it means that there's something happening within the city, that they are putting a curfew in place, and everyone has to abide by this curfew. It's going to go into an effect less than an hour from now, 9:30 until 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, there are some exceptions to this curfew, and they give those exceptions specifically here, but one of those are people that are at a soccer game right now. The Velocity soccer game is happening. You can see it from our sky cam here at 500 West Boone Avenue. And earlier when we saw our reporters on the scene on Washington, there was quite a haze in the air, some smoke, and it seems that smoky air has in some ways traveled. It doesn't look like it in this picture now, but we are being told that people who are leaving this soccer game are part of that exception as far as the curfew goes.
And you can still see some flashing police lights kind of in the upper sort of left-hand corner of your screen up there. And that's where our Marissa Rio has been for the last several hours following this protest. And Marissa, it sounds like there's still a lot of noise behind you there. I know police were trying to get everybody to disperse.
That's right, Derek and Kirsten. It's getting a lot louder, and actually since our last hit, this SWAT car right over in this area has moved closer to the red van that I talked about last time. So now a lot of these protesters believe that they are going to bring detainees out and put them in this red van. Over where the other protest is, you can just hear how loud it is. There are hundreds of people here on both sides. There are even others on the other side of me that you can't see, and as you can see, a lot of these officers have gas masks on. Haven't seen many people leave, so while they are telling protesters to leave, that's not really happened here.
Okay, Marissa, and we have been doing some research looking into public safety in the city of Spokane, and we now know that police can use OC, which is a way of describing pepper spray, which may have been what you experienced earlier. Can you describe again what that was like, and has it happened again since we last saw you?
Yeah, Kirsten, it has not happened again as of yet, but what happened earlier was there were two protesters that they're bringing someone out right now. As you can see, that this bus right here, it looks like they were bringing someone out. It doesn't look like they have anybody, though. That looks like an agent himself. But this is the bus that Ben Stuckert was sitting in front of. So now you're going to see protesters go over that way. This red car is a protester's car, so that is blocking the bus if this bus wants to try and leave. It does look like they might be doing something here at that door. We have police blocking these protesters, though. Earlier today, several were sitting in front of that bus, so if someone had brought a detainee out, they wouldn't have been coming out. Okay, so those agents left.
Marissa, let's hang with you here and just give everybody, kind of orient them where the flashing police lights, that's Washington Street. The cross street where the bus is, that's Cataldo, leading to basically the loading docks of the podium on that side. That brick building that used to be Barca Rescue Pub. Marissa, correct me if I'm wrong now, this is now the ICE office, right? That's why we're seeing those officers come out of that door near that bus that we just saw. Is that correct?
Yes, this is the Old Bark Rescue Pub. Next door was always an ICE building prior to the pub closing, but this door right here is part of the ICE building that you had just mentioned.
And you've been out there all day, Marissa. You started right next to that white bus, and you showed us protesters who were sitting next to it, protesters who were holding each other's arms near that red car. You were actually there before the red car parked in front of that white bus. And now, as Derek described, the scene has evolved so much.
That's right, Kirsten. So before, when I came here, the red car wasn't here. The protester put his car here. I saw that protester be detained earlier today, and that another person came on their bike and spray painted that driver's side windshield of the bus during the protest earlier today. And another protester also, we saw him deflating the tire. I don't know if you can see this far, but that front tire is deflated. That was a protester doing that as well.
All right, Marissa, thank you so much again for your live reporting. And again, glad that you guys are okay after being involved in that pepper spray and the smoke that was there in that area just not too long ago.
No, it's been hours that they've been out there, and a lot has changed. And I think Marissa has done a fantastic job of really setting the scene and explaining it for all of our viewers. And we will have much more for you coming up after this break.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
So you want somewhere to play? We got you. A nice relaxing stay? We got you. Wanna be entertained? We got you. Wanna play golf all day? We got you. Go to Lake Casino. Go to Lake Casino. Winning is just the beginning.
Wildfire season is here and we may be affected by smoke. Protect your health by being prepared. 1. Check current air quality and fire activity online and plan accordingly. 2. When it's smoky, limit or avoid time outdoors. And 3. Keep indoor air as clean as possible. Replace home air filters more often and set the air conditioner to the recirculate mode. For the latest information about wildfires and air quality, visit the Washington Smoke blog, wasmoke.blogspot.com.
Our customers love coming to Car Wash Plaza.
I work late shifts. Car Wash Plaza is open 24/7. That works for me.
I feel safe. It's so well lit, and there's security lights everywhere.
Strong water jets cover everything. The roof, the sides, even the undercarriage.
The Central Dog Wash is so convenient, no hassle, keeps the dog clean, and keeps my house clean too.
It's easy at Car Wash Plaza. It's the best in the Northwest.
For over 25 years, Dr. Arvind Chaudhry and Summit Cancer Centers has remained true to 3 core values. 25 years of coming together to develop the most complete and personalized treatment plans available. 25 years of providing the most advanced treatments and non-invasive radiosurgery in the country. 25 years of taking you on a healing journey from diagnosis to recovery.
And we are not stopping there. We will continue to offer the most comprehensive cancer treatment in the Northwest.
Summit Cancer Centers, integrated, innovative, inspired.
In a world where life moves too fast, one place brings us back to what truly matters. Memories aren't made in traffic jams or office meetings. They're made out here, where the road leads to adventure and every mile is a story waiting to be told. At R&R RV, we don't just sell RVs. We fuel your journey with expert service and a passion for adventure. Because the best moments in life don't fit inside 4 walls.
Idaho's crown jewel, ranked #1. A quick drive to playtime paradise. Tee off in style, then keep the fun going at the casino. Secure your tee time online at cdacasino.com/golf. Circling Raven Golf Club at Coeur d'Alene Casino Resort Hotel.
4 News Now is brought to you by Horizon Credit Union, proud sponsor of the Extreme Team.
All right, we want to welcome you back to breaking news. We are covering a state of emergency in the city of Spokane because of ICE protests that have combined right near our broadcast studios here at 500 West Boone Avenue.
If you missed it earlier, we told you former city council president even, Ben Stuckert, was among the protesters who were detained during this protest of standing in front of an ICE van that was trying to leave with 2 men inside.
That's right. He said that he was the legal guardian of a Venezuelan man and that he would sit in front of that bus, and he was inviting protesters to join him. And since about 2 o'clock this afternoon, that protest has grown significantly.
So we're going to go back to Marissa Rio once again now, and it sounds like there's more happening right in that area where you're at, Boone and Cataldo, right, Marissa?
That's right, Derek. I actually want to show you this scene over here because you can hear stuff happening. I'm going to bring you to this area. There's more smoke in the air over towards the protest on the other side now. As you can see over here, now this is the building on Cataldo, is the building that is the ICE building here in Spokane. As you can see, these 2 vans just got here. Protesters are thinking they're going to bring the detainees out. And what Ben Stuckert had said was that he came in, the Venezuelan man came in for a regular ICE checkup, and that's when he was detained. We did see Ben Stuckert being detained himself earlier today. The smoke is coming in now. You can still hear the noise over in that area.
All right, and Marissa, it looks like quite a bit of smoke is coming up back into the air. This is the second time that you've seen this tonight.
Yes, so earlier today, as they were trying to have people leave, they someone deployed this smoke, excuse me. It's getting a little thick in this area. We also have some of the protesters over here, excuse me, talking to the officers in this area. You can still see the police here with their gas masks, some with gas masks and some if not. They're bringing some detainees out. I don't know if you can tell within that thick smoke in that area, but it does look like some detainees are coming, excuse me.
All right. We're going to let Marissa try to get out of harm's way there. It's very clear she's having a difficult time talking with all that smoke. What you're looking at now is from the Washington Bridge facing north. And now we're actually back on our other camera, which is on the north side facing south near Boone and Cataldo, where all that smoke is accumulating again in an effort to try to get these protesters to disperse. And as you were saying earlier, Kirsten, about 45 minutes now until this curfew goes into effect that Mayor Lisa Brown just issued within the last little bit.
That's right. It's going to go into effect at 9:30 and last until 5 a.m. And as Marissa was telling us before she was experiencing that coughing fit there, that there are detainees that are actively being walked into, it looks like these two white vans, and one of them is actually starting to move. So this is the first, Derek, that we've seen of some movement without the protesters, you know, locking arms in front of a truck.
Yeah, and I wonder if our director can possibly go back to our other live camera, if it's up still, on the Washington Bridge. So now, again, this is on the Washington Street Bridge, looking north, right, towards that building, the brick building there where Marissa has been live for us. And you can see there's still quite a few people that involved in that protest, quite a few police cars still around, and then other people maybe just milling about trying to see what's going on there. And in regards to that curfew, once again, the only people who are exceptions to that will be law enforcement, emergency personnel, media, people leaving the Spokane Velocity game, as we told you about, that's happening right now at One Spokane Stadium. Residents in the area, people going to and from work.
Got it. All right, it sounds like we are going to bring Marissa back in here. Marissa, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. There is a lot of noise here. As you can see, they're bringing detainees now into this white van. The protesters are angry, but they're also yelling at these detainees that they love them and making sure that they're showing their support. The smoke has died down here, but these are the detainees that you are seeing the agents bring from the ICE building into this van. This is the first time that we have seen detainees come out of this building today.
And Marissa, just walk us through one more time how this all started. We know that this was because of a Venezuelan young man who just turned 21 today.
That's right, Kirsten. So Ben Stuckert said that he was the legal guardian of this 21-year-old Venezuelan man who was seeking asylum here in America, and he came in for a routine ICE checkup. He was called in for a check-in, and that is where he was detained. And then that's when Ben Stuckert started this protest, said that he was going to stand in front of the bus, or sit in front of the bus, excuse me, so that bus could not leave here tonight. Now we are seeing the first van is leaving, and the second van has now left with all the detainees.
And Marissa, we're watching at least 5, 6 different people getting into those vans. Are you seeing more from your vantage point?
No, what we just saw in between those shots, in between that you came out from our shot, we did see other detainees come in. I would safely say about a dozen detainees were taken away at least right now.
All right. And again, with a lot of law enforcement presence there, there was no interaction, I guess, between those detainees and any of the protesters maybe trying to get between them and the police all in that area. So, Marissa Rio, thank you very much.
And we have been following this breaking news again since early this afternoon. We will continue to update you. We have live updates happening right now on KXLY.com, but we do want to get you a look at our first alert forecast.
Yep, let's head it over to Chris Crocker.
All right, temperatures right now 80 in Spokane with mostly cloudy skies, still 78 in Coeur d'Alene after high temperature today of 84 after a warming trend that took a week to get to 94. That was a record. We were 92 yesterday, a little bit cooler, also a record, now down to 84, and that cooling trend will continue for the next couple of days before it plateaus. 81 tomorrow, 77 77 on Friday. That's as cool as it's going to get. And then we will continue to see temperatures just a little above average through the 7-day forecast. Breezy conditions each afternoon. Always a concern when it has been so very dry and warm. Even though it's not going to be especially windy, any fire starts could spread quickly with 20-mile-per-hour gusts. Briefly tomorrow afternoon, a little bit of a breeze in the afternoon, and then things will quiet down again tomorrow. Here's a look at our satellite and radar, and we've had thunderstorms to the north and to the east and to the south. We've just been dealing with waves of clouds moving through the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area, and that will be the case again tomorrow. We're going to be in this weather pattern for the next few days. A ridge of high pressure moving to the east. We're watching this area of low pressure off the coast, and that is going to be sending us those clouds and slightly cooler weather, but unfortunately, no precipitation, only a little glimmer of hope for some rain in the 7-day forecast. Weak disturbances will rotate around this area of low pressure like spokes on a bicycle wheel, bringing us some clouds occasionally and a mountain shower for the next few days, but otherwise we are dry. Your planning forecast, 81 tomorrow with partly sunny to mostly sunny skies, 77 on Friday. Again, that mix of sun and clouds. For the weekend, temperatures running above average, but we'll be in the upper 70s and lower 80s, so fairly comfortable with a lot of sunshine. Then we do have a 20% chance of precipitation on Tuesday. Every time it looks like there might be some hope for a little bit of wet weather in the forecast, it evaporates before we get there. So we'll just keep hoping that we see things turn around. It has been 2 solid weeks since we've had any measurable rain in Spokane, and that was only 1/100 of an inch. So we are really running low on precipitation. We'll be right back.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
So you want somewhere to play? We got you. A nice relaxing stay? We got you. Wanna be entertained? We got you. Wanna play golf all day? We got you. Go to Lake Casino. Go to Lake Casino. Winning is just the beginning.
You've worked hard your whole life.
Now when you need Social Security disability, they make you work even harder.
Paperwork, phone calls, delays, just to get denied?
You've paid into the system this whole time.
And this is how you get treated?
That's when you call 1-800-LAW-0842.
We've helped thousands of people get the benefits they deserve, even if they've been denied.
We'll navigate the system and work hard for you.
Call 800-LAW-0842.
Watch your mailbox. Banner Furnace and Fuel's anniversary sale is on now with thousands of dollars of home comfort savings, big furnace and air conditioning rebates, home comfort system service specials, even Guardian maintenance plan incentives that save you money and provide peace of mind. If you didn't get the new Banner Furnace and Fuel anniversary savings mailer, call today and we'll send one right out. Banner Furnace and Fuel, keeping families comfortable for over 100 years.
Expect even more from KXLY Plus. Live updates from the 4 News Now team. Breaking news as it happens. Weather every 10 minutes. Stay connected for free with 4 News Now on KXLY Plus.
What's for lunch this summer? For kids who rely on school meal programs, the answer is not enough. Donate to the What's for Lunch food drive at Yolks locations throughout June to make sure all our kids get enough to eat this summer.
One of the most iconic bands in rock history, George Thorogood and the Destroyers, bring the Rock Party to the Coeur d'Alene Casino live Thursday, July 31st. Visit the Coeur d'Alene Casino box office or cdacasino.com for tickets.
Winning is just the beginning.
4 News Now is brought to you by Shriners Children's Hospitals.
All right, welcome back. We want to take you now to the Washington Street Bridge, where protesters in Riverfront Park marched over to merge with the other ICE protests happening today.
Our Mary Sheridan continues our team coverage now. And Mary, we understand from the live shot that we saw before the commercial break, there was quite a bit of smoke coming toward you. Were you and our photojournalist able to move out of that smoke, and how are you doing at this point?
Yes, thank you for asking, Kirsten. I was going to mention that we're joining you a little bit further down Washington than from last time. There was another really loud bang, actually multiple loud bangs, and even more smoke than last time. And many people ran from the big group that you saw just a little bit ago. As you can see behind me, the police have pushed people further down Washington. A few people have come up to me and asked me, like, where are they pushing them to? What is the end goal? And, you know, we're still really not sure at this point. Someone came up to me and showed me this rubber bullet that they found just in the parking lot across from us. We're not sure when this was deployed or who deployed it, but it was handed to us on the scene. The chanting has continued. It's stopped now. Someone came onto a megaphone a little bit earlier mentioning the mayor's curfew at 9:30, which prompted more chanting of shame on you. It's starting to calm down. Oh, actually, it's picking up now. Take a listen, actually. But we've seen people coming and going. I understand it's a little bit hard to hear, but I mean, if you were here right now, you would definitely hear the chanting. But what I'd like to say is that there have been people coming and going. It's been kind of a stagnant crowd.
All right, and Mary, we just got word that Spokane police want people to know there are no more detainees left at that ICE facility. So I guess they're hoping that that word will get out and these protesters can start to disperse.
Right. And a few of the people that I was able to talk to since I last came to you were not aware of the state of emergency declared by the mayor. So it's unclear to know how long this is going to last, and as that word spreads.
All right, Mary Sheridan live for us, giving us another view of these ICE protests that have combined in downtown Spokane, very close to where we're broadcasting here on 500 West Boone Avenue. And of course, we have our Marissa Rio out there, two photojournalists, all watching and keeping people informed. But I think this is really important for people to hear. No detainees left at that ICE facility. That may change things in the next 30 minutes.
And again, that curfew will go into effect starting at 9:30. That is just over 32 minutes right now, and will last until 5 a.m. with very few exceptions for people like law enforcement, medical personnel, and what have you, people living in that area. And of course, the people who are right in or outside of that protest in One Spokane Stadium watching the Spokane Velocity soccer game. We're going to take a break, come back with more of the special edition of 4 News Now right after this.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
For 30 years, Renewal by Andersen has replaced worn out and difficult to use windows and doors. Our focus on quality and performance has helped us install over 10 million windows. Every window and door custom built with our exclusive Vibrex material and backed by the nation's best warranty. Renewal by Andersen is your best choice for window and door replacements. Call now for big savings during our 30th anniversary sales event. It's our biggest event of the year with exclusive savings on our most energy efficient windows and doors. Hurry, offer ends soon. Renewal by Andersen, 30 years of craft, care, and gratitude.
Donating your vehicle to UGM Motors is easy.
When you drop off a vehicle, you have to sign a paper of, I donated this vehicle. And that was the hardest part. And I didn't have to fill it out. They filled it out for me and had me sign it.
Your car, truck, RV, or motorcycle will provide food, shelter, job training, and recovery services at Union Gospel Mission.
I think it's a great service to the community.
Call 509-327-HELP to schedule a free pickup today.
Life is an opportunity to grow, to feel, to excel. Life moves at its own pace, daring you to keep up. Life pushes you to be better and to go farther. Life has you here. We're just here to help.
What can we make for you today? From the Sweet Palace in Phillipsburg, Montana.
At 4 News Now, we believe you should expect more from local news. Our team is committed to a community conversation and bringing you information you need when and where you need it. Numerica believes in and supports that mission.
A penny saved is a lifetime earned. Numerica Credit Union. Money where it matters.
All right, we are continuing to follow breaking news. 2 separate ICE-related protests that merged in downtown Spokane and continuing on the north bank of the Spokane River, where earlier today, former Spokane City Council President Ben Stuckert was among the protesters that were detained by Spokane police.
And we watched him taken away in handcuffs by police. We also have watched dozens at this point of protesters taken away in handcuffs and detained. Our Marissa Rio has been out there for many hours, and Marissa, things have changed by the minute for you.
That's right. Now, Spokane Police does want people to know that there are no more detainees inside of this ICE facility. Now, if you take a look around me, there are still police here lining the street, so no one can leave this sidewalk. There are still a few protesters up on this parking lot, and if you look over here, this rescue sheriff truck just stopped by. As you can see, there are still protesters over in this area. There are hundreds here tonight over at the other protest, over at this protest. We have this street blocked off right now, but there are protests on each end of where you see police officers right now.
And Marissa, just by the looks of things, I mean, you know, when we first came to you 45 minutes or so ago, it looked like there were still hundreds of protesters there. It looks like the numbers have really tailed off here in the last little bit.
Yeah, so some people have left, but there are still protesters on the other end of those where the police cars are. They have just pushed us quite up here. I can't see that far down, but I can see quite a few signs in this area over here. So I'm sure that there's quite the group in that area. But in this area here, like you had mentioned 45 minutes ago, it was packed in this area. But where we're standing now has died down just a little bit.
And you are right near Cataldo, which is above where that ICE facility is located. And again, we watched the detainees walk out about 15 or so minutes ago. We also saw, Marissa, just for your perspective, from the Washington Street Bridge, our other live crew was able to see pretty far off in the distance, but still a large crowd. So there's less than 30 minutes left until this curfew goes into effect. Marissa, are you hearing from anybody out there that they're planning to comply with this curfew?
We have not heard anyone mention anything about the curfew here tonight. There are people dispersing the streets, and they're no longer in these street areas as police have pushed quite a few people back and detained quite a few protesters. But I have honestly here not heard anything about the curfew or people saying whether or not they're going to follow the curfew here tonight.
All right, Marissa, thank you so much. And I guess if you really think about it, unless they're announcing it on megaphones right there at the scene, the people who are at the protest might be the last to learn about that curfew going into effect. Marissa, once again, thank you for your live reporting.
Yeah, and the state of emergency that the mayor has declared. Again, like Derek said, I mean, the people who are watching our newscast are not necessarily there at the protest.
All right, we're going to move things on and get another check of the weather right now with Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker. We're still cooling down a bit, right?
Yes, our cooling trend continues. Here's a look over downtown Spokane, over the Spokane Veterans Memorial Arena. Soccer players heading home, and the clouds are clearing a little bit, but there are more on the way. This is our time lapse from today, and we've got this southerly flow of clouds that have been at times fairly opaque, but we will continue to see those clouds moving through tonight as well as during the day tomorrow, at times impacting our temperature. But the thunderstorms, the showers are all around us, but not making their way into the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area, as we have this area of low pressure that is going to be impacting our weather for the next few days, cooling us down, bringing occasional clouds, but the thunderstorms are going to remain over the mountain areas. Hour by hour, your Thursday forecast, 58 degrees at 7 o'clock with partly cloudy skies, mostly sunny as we get into mid-morning, 73 degrees by noon, much cooler than it has been the past few days. Winds fairly steady, sustained at 5 to 10 miles per hour, but in the afternoon, we'll start to see those stronger gusts up to 20 miles per hour. High temperature of 81 degrees. That's still almost 10 degrees above average, but we will get a little bit cooler on Friday before our cooling trend levels off. Jeff?
Well, 3 NBA Finals games are down, at least 2 to go, and what a series it has been. The Indiana Pacers taking a 2-1 lead over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Check out this crowd tonight in Indy.
They're 2 wins away from a championship.
What a game, what a moment for the Indiana Pacers. Their first 2-1 finals lead in history as they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 116-107. This comes off a solid OKC win in Game 2. Indy replying with a generational 27-point performance from Benedict Mathurin off the bench. The Pacer helping lead his team to their first Game 3 win this playoff run. Indiana's defense was remarkable too, forcing Oklahoma City to 0 for 4 from deep in the final quarter and held NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to 24 points. Still pretty good. That's finals low. Tyrese Halliburton had his best game of the series, scoring 22 points on 9 for 17 shooting, not to mention 11 assists, 9 boards. And shout out TJ McConnell, first bench player in NBA history with 5+ steals and 5+ assists in a finals game. Now, don't miss Sports on Nightside. We're going to have post-game reactions from both teams. Seattle Seahawks have slowly made their way through the offseason. Today, their final day of minicamp. Hawks also announced today their 2025 training camp schedule, the first chance that Seattle fans can watch. Plus Seahawks Fan Fest. Camp begins July 23rd, wraps up August 12th. Fan Fest on August 2nd. Make sure to head over to KXLY.com to check in on more Seahawks summer details. Seattle Mariners continued their free fall today. They fell 5-2 to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Eugenio Suarez go-ahead 6th inning grand slam you're seeing now rocketed the Snakes ahead of the Mariners. Suarez's 3rd grand slam of the season came after Brian Wu held Arizona to 0 runs through the first 5 innings. Julio Rodriguez, he played pretty well for Seattle today, though. 3 hits, 2 doubles, and a run. But now with a 1-8 stretch for Seattle, the M's are under 500 for the first time since mid-April. Spokane Indians also in action today. Score, last I checked, 3-7. In the bottom of the 6th, that's their road trip at the Vancouver Canadians. Indians ended their winning streak, 5-1 loss yesterday. They need a W to even the series. We're going to have the highlights at 11. And now, happy birthday, Kibbie Dome. The iconic stadium, home of the Idaho Vandals, celebrates this year its 50th anniversary from its first season and close in 1975. Vandals are an impressive 27-9 at home since rejoining the FCS in 2018, plus a perfect 6-0 last season. The Dome earned a top 25 spot in ESPN's last season college football game. And the best part, you can buy this, a miniature Kibbie Dome to celebrate the anniversary. Pre-orders available now. We have the link on KXLY.com. Idaho opening their home schedule this fall against St. Thomas on September 6th. The Kibbie Dome is the best. I love it.
Is that the roof? You could put the roof on?
Yes, it is removable. You can put it on. You can put it back off. It is just the best thing ever.
I love it.
I wanted to add here, too, just on the record. My girlfriend's watching. She doesn't know this. I have already bought one of these. It's on its way to the house right now. So I didn't tell her earlier, but we're about to have a mini Kibbie Dome.
You might spend more money on sports memorabilia than anybody I know.
That is true. My wallet does not appreciate. Yeah, poor Ashley.
I hear you. Hey, and it's just gone final across the street. The Velocity and the Independence FC have tied.
Yes,
1-1.
1-1. Luis Gil with the tying goal earlier in the game. So very exciting. We'll have those highlights on that side.
All right, we'll be right back.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
I'm Chad Young from theeasyhomebuyer.com, Spokane and Coeur d'Alene's easiest way to sell your house fast. If you have a few moments, I hope you'll give me the opportunity to make you an instant cash offer on your home. With theeasyhomebuyer.com, we will buy your house in as-is condition with no repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. To get your no-obligation cash offer, give us a call or visit us online at theeasyhomebuyer.com.
Pick up the phone to inquire. Call the Easy Home Buyer.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford.
Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Get employee pricing plus 1.9% and $4,500 bonus cash on a 2024 Ford F-150 STX. Only at your local Ford dealer.
I felt like there was just no answers to get out of the anxiety and the depression that I had.
I was suicidal all the time, thinking about it nonstop, every day, every moment.
Depression and anxiety rob millions of us of our day-to-day lives, but nothing seems to pull you out of it. Introducing Neurostim TMS, Washington's leading provider of transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS therapy. At Neurostim TMS, we treat the root of the problem with a series of short daily treatments. Using a non-invasive magnetic field, TMS activates the natural function of the brain's neurotransmitters to improve mood and regulate emotion. TMS is not shock therapy. It's an FDA-approved, easy outpatient experience and covered by all major medical insurances.
There's nothing better than just being able to enjoy life again.
The treatment just completely, fundamentally changed my life.
Visit neurostimtms.com today or call to schedule your free consultation at any of our 12 Washington state locations.
Hi. Hi. Chocolate fundraiser.
With the Chase mobile app, things move a little more smoothly. Deposit checks easily and send money quickly. That's convenience from Chase. Make more of what's yours.
4 News Now is brought to you by Gold Seal Plumbing.
All right, we're going to go back to our breaking news of the ICE-related protests happening in Spokane tonight. We can tell you several protesters have been detained by Spokane police. All of the ICE detainees have since left that facility in separate vans, and a state of emergency with a curfew will now be going into effect in about 18 minutes from now at 9:30.
And we want to get right to our Marissa Rio, who has been live there for us, giving us updates. And Marissa, things have shifted quite a bit in the last few hours. What can you tell us just from our last update?
Well, so there were a few protesters from the last update, but they are no longer here. Police have moved all of the protesters back. And also there is a tow truck here. This was the red van that protesters believed detainees were going to be put in, but an officer tells me that those tires were flat. Now, we don't know what happened to those tires, but they were flat, and now there is a tow truck here towing that van out of here. Again, this was the van that protesters first believed detainees were going to be put into, but then we saw those 2 white vans following the need for this van to be towed out of here. An officer, a sergeant here with Spokane Police, also told me that the mayor's office should be having some sort of presser here in a little bit, so we will stay updated on that, continue to update you on whatever new information comes from the city, online and on air at KXLY.com.
All right, Marissa, and we do know that the city has issued a map that is now on our website that has to do with this state of emergency and curfew. So if that's helpful for people to have a visual, we do have that map. And we just found out some breaking news that, Marissa, is good for you to know as well. Former City Council President Ben Stuckert has been booked. So we now have that confirmation. We watched him being taken away in handcuffs earlier. I know you've been following that, and you spoke with him earlier today, Marissa.
Yeah, so this all started because Ben Stuckert said that he was legal guardian of a Venezuelan man seeking asylum here. He went for a routine ICE check-in, and that's where Ben Stuckert said he was detained. Now, when we spoke with Ben Stuckert, he was very emotional, saying that he didn't think this was morally correct and that this was illegal for them to detain him when he was coming in for a routine check here today.
All right, Marissa, thank you. And the reasoning behind Stuckert's booking is failure to disperse. You can read more about his situation, which is really where all of this started from, this afternoon right now on our website, KXLY.com.
And we know that we have another crew out on the scene. I'm not sure that we're going to go to them live right now. Mary Sheridan and our photojournalist that are on the Washington Street Bridge. But again, as Derek said, we've been following this. Started as a protest that was very small. just, you know, kind of a small
We need
group
to
of people
move, so we're going to
near
be off a little
Cataldo.
second.
And we can still hear Marissa right now. There she is. She's moving, it sounds like. But it has grown, and it became hundreds of people.
Right, and that's why we've been staying with you for so long during this newscast, this special edition of 4 News Now. Don't forget, you can get caught up on all of this once again on our website at KXLY.com. We're going to take another break right now. Back with more news right after this.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
Boom! Looks like T-Pain is too much for y'all.
Did I hear munch?
Sounds like someone's craving his new Munchie meal.
Wait, do you just appear whenever somebody says munch?
Why, is that weird? Get T-Pain's new Tater Melt Munchie meal.
Munch!
Welcome to Jock in the Box. When you get into a car accident, you may be wondering if you need a lawyer.
Well, if you were injured and it wasn't your fault, you should probably talk to an attorney.
Call Russell and Hill. The advice is free.
Our team will review your case at no charge and let you know how best to proceed.
And if you decide you do need a lawyer,
remember, we win your case or it's free.
Russell and Hill will fight for you. Call 800-LAW-0842.
The Medellin Falls Bigfoot Festival, presented by the Kalispel Tribe of Indians, returns to Pend Oreille County June 14th and 15th. From Sasquatch-themed crafts to Bigfoot merchandise, a 5K fun run, and food vendors from across the region, this event is guaranteed to leave you amazed and entertained. Get your tickets to hear from the country's foremost experts about their Bigfoot sightings and fieldwork both Saturday and Sunday. The Medellin Falls Bigfoot Festival. For tickets and information, go to mfbigfoot.com.
Summer means the great outdoors, but it's also wildfire season. How are you going to cope with smoke from wildfires? 1. When it's smoky, check current air quality. 2. Limit or avoid time outdoors. And 3. Keep indoor air as clean as possible. Replace home air filters as often as needed and use the best filter for your system. Set the air conditioner to the recirculate mode. If necessary, find a cleaner air shelter near you. For the latest information about wildfires and smoke, visit the Washington Smoke blog, wasmoke.blogspot.com.
Are you in need of an update? Panhandle Carpet One is more than just flooring. We've launched our brand new Cabinet Design Center and remodel showroom. From custom cabinetry and stunning flooring options, our experts bring your dream space to life. Hardwood, luxury vinyl, carpet, laminate, tile, window treatments, and cabinets. Panhandle Carpet One Floor and Home. Now your destination for floors, cabinets, and complete home style. Visit us on West Appleway or start designing at panhandlecarpet1coeur d'Alene.com.
I've decided you need more flavor in your life. Introducing my new barbecue potato chip flavored and chili crisp flavored seasoned curly fries for just $3.50. I've also decided you need more fries in your life, in case that wasn't obvious. Get so much more under $4.
Welcome to Jock in the Box.
Book your stay and play getaway today at Mistaqua.com.
All right, it's been a chaotic evening here in Spokane, so let's get you caught up. Starting at about 2 o'clock today, the initial ICE protest headlined by former Spokane City Council President Ben Stuckert happened near Boone and Cataldo, where he was in front of an ICE facility vehicle trying to prevent that from going anywhere to taking away any detainees.
Yeah, just an hour before that, he posted on Facebook. There were some shares. People knew that he was doing this, and it has completely escalated to hundreds of protesters. Now, it's important to note that Ben Stuckert talked about early on with our Marissa Rio that he had legal custody of a 21-year-old man from Venezuela who he walked into the ICE offices today, and they were attempting to get legal, they were attempting to help him get legal status, and it failed. That's how this all really escalated.
Meanwhile, there was another planned protest in Riverfront Park near the Big Red Wagon, which is where our Mary Sheridan started her evening. But when things started to escalate at Boone and Cataldo, those people walked over across Washington Street Bridge to kind of merge these protests, right, Mary? And that's where things, again, really started to escalate.
Right, and Derek, I'm bringing you a much different scene than earlier in this newscast. It's dark now. Police have moved all the way up to the traffic stop here at North River and Washington. I'm going to have my cameraman pan a little bit over. You can see the protesters are sitting on the Riverfront Park sign, a landmark here in Spokane, but under very different circumstances right now. Now, just a minute ago, someone did come on the megaphone telling people that if they did not disperse in a few minutes, they would be arrested. arrested, this was met with a chorus of boos from the crowd.
All right, Mary, and again, that curfew does go in effect now in almost exactly 10 minutes from right now. You just showed us there are still at least dozens of people there in that immediate area, and I guess it remains to be seen what kind of force police choose to use if they don't disperse, right?
Right, that's still unclear at this time, and I believe we've shown the map, or we've shown that our map is on KXLY.com, showing where these curfew restrictions are applying to. Very broadly, it does go from Boone to Spokane Falls Boulevard. So in order to move this many people out this quickly, it's going to be a task that we're going to have to see how it's done.
And Mary, you have watched people disperse. You have watched people leave in the last hour, and a lot of that, it seemed to be due to the fact that there were smoke in the air. There was what we believe to be pepper spray in the air. Can you tell us more about where you saw people going and if you heard anybody talking about leaving entirely?
Right, and I've seen people leave in a few different ways. Some people have just peacefully exited the situation. My cameraman and I were actually some of the people that were running from those loud blasts. We just weren't sure what they were, and smoke was very quickly filling the air. Actually, you know, just behind me, it kind of took on this greenish hue to it. So I'm sure a lot of people dispersed from the crowd in that scenario, but in all the chaos, it's hard to tell where they went.
All right, Mary, thank you very much. Let's show you some video now that our photographers captured a little bit earlier this afternoon and early evening. You can see protesters here with all kinds of different signs for the protest. Again, this is at near Boone and Cataldo, where things started with City Council President Ben Stuckert. You see him there in the light-colored shirt and the glasses, sitting in front of that van there alongside other protesters surrounding him in that area. And as things began to escalate and more people came into that area, there was OC, or a kind of pepper spray that was used on that crowd. We heard our own Marissa Rio really coughing and struggling in that as she was trying to talk to us live on the air. There was also smoke here in that area of North River in Washington. Some people speculated tear gas. We're not sure that was actually the case, but nevertheless, a lot of smoke and a lot of coughing resulting from that, Kirsten.
That's right. And like you said, Derek, we heard our own crews coughing and experiencing that, so we have that point of reference. The other thing to point out is earlier when we saw Ben Stuckert in that video, he was sitting alongside that white van, and that was what the plan was to start with. There were no Spokane police officers there to start. It was just agents, and Marissa Rio even heard from one of those agents earlier in the afternoon saying that if anyone interfered, they could face arrest. We knew that given the laws in Washington, they likely wouldn't face arrest from the federal agents, but as soon as Spokane police and the deputies showed up, that's when things began to change, and we saw people handcuffed. We even saw Ben Stuckert, not in this frame here, but we saw him being walked away in handcuffs, and now we can confirm that he's been booked into jail.
Yeah, and we also just received word within the last few minutes that Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown will now be holding a press conference starting at 10 o'clock, so a little more than 30 minutes from now. About an hour ago, Mayor Brown issued a curfew tonight beginning at 9:30 and lasting until 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. Again, this will stretch from an area from basically Spokane Falls Boulevard to Boone Avenue, and then I believe it's Division all the way over to Howard, so that area will be off limits to anybody who's not law enforcement, emergency personnel, media, residents in that area, and people that have to go in that area to get to and from work.
And a question that we had was, do these protesters even know about this curfew and the state of emergency? And we had an answer to that question in Mary's last live shot. It sounded like there were some warnings being sent over the loudspeakers from some of the police in that, at least where Mary's standing on Washington Street Bridge, warning them that in the next 10 to 20 minutes they would be arrested if they stuck around.
Yeah, and all of the detainees that were brought in by ICE have been put in vans and drove away. We actually saw that happen live on our air, courtesy of our photographer, Brian Belanger, who is up on a basalt rock right there at Boone and Cataldo, getting some great pictures for us here all night long. And that is why police wanted to stress to everybody in that area that all the people that they're there to protest are now gone and out of that area. And so all that remains to be seen is in 5 minutes from now, if those people who do remain on that area don't disperse, what happens then?
What will be next? And what, like we just saw, 3 or 4 minutes ago with Mary, a lot of people sitting on the Riverfront Park sign. There's still quite a few people who have chosen not to leave at this point, and it sounds like warnings are being given. The mayor is going to be issuing, she's already issued a state of emergency, but is going to be issuing a press conference after this curfew begins. Like Derek said, in the next 4 or so minutes, this curfew will begin, and we will see what changes on the scene with our crews. And you can see a lot of police vehicles still in that area right near Washington Street Bridge. That's above the pavilion there. And Cataldo is where Marissa Rio has been stationed for most of the day, because that is where that ICE unit is, right inside of that brick building.
The other thing to keep in mind, right, is that when we started this broadcast a little over an hour ago, it was still daylight outside, right? But sundown happened about 30 minutes ago, and now it's a much different scene as you look at all the darkness out there, and it only creates more chance for nefarious acts to happen if these protesters choose not to comply with police orders.
And the other thing we talked about with Jack as he was giving, the sports highlights, the Velocity game ended in the last half hour, and so there were a lot of people who were just out watching soccer tonight in this area, and may have no idea that there's a curfew going on or a state of emergency, and are hopefully finding their way to their vehicles safely. But yeah, still a lot happening out there. You can see so many police vehicles with their lights shining in the darkness.
All right, we're going to take another break. Back with more of these protests in the Lilac City after this.
Live stream KXLY Plus on the 4 News Now app.
When I was told I needed radiation treatment for a brain tumor, I couldn't stop thinking about what could happen to my memories. Those moments I cherish from growing up, of finding myself, of the people I love, of what I've created. Could they all just fade away? But when I learned how precise treatment was with Gamma Knife, I was reassured that those moments would be preserved. Because it's not only about protecting the memories I've made, but the ones I have yet to create.
You probably have a few things lying around collecting dust, right? Why not donate them to UGM thrift stores? Your donation isn't just stuff. It's hope for those facing homelessness and addiction. Some items go straight to our shelters to meet pressing needs. Others are carefully prepped, priced, and placed in our stores, awaiting a new, loving home. And every dollar provides meals, safe shelter, and other life-changing services. Whether you donate or shop at UGM thrift stores, you're making a difference right here in the Inland Northwest.
BECU wants to help celebrate your dad this June with the fantastic Father's Day contest. Send us a photo of your father and tell us the impact he's had on your life. He'll be entered for a chance to win a $100 gift card to Agers Meats. Fantastic Fathers. Brought to you by BECU.
If your windows, entry door, or patio doors haven't been checked in years, they could be costing you. Schedule a complimentary consultation from Renewal by Andersen. We'll take a look at your current windows and doors and check for drafts. We can also use a heat lamp test to identify exactly where energy might be escaping. You'll get thoughtful recommendations, and you can even preview new styles right in your space. Schedule a complimentary consultation with us today.
Andy's Heating, Cooling, Electrical guarantees to keep your home safe and warm. Your comfort is Andy's priority. From installation to repair and even preventative maintenance. Andy's Heating, Cooling, Electrical, your trusted Carrier experts since 1972.
All right, welcome back. Just in the last few minutes, Spokane County Commissioner Josh Kearns has issued a statement condemning what he's calling riots in the city of Spokane, calling for peace, order, and support for law enforcement. Quote, "The unrest we have seen in the city of Spokane is unacceptable. I stand with the dedicated men and women of law enforcement who put themselves in harm's way to protect lives, businesses, and public safety."
And of course, he's referencing these protests that have been going on since about 2 o'clock this afternoon, growing in size by the hour. Our Marissa Rio has been there all day long and has a look for us now live in this is the moment, this is when the curfew is going into effect, issued by Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown.
That's right, Derek and Kirsten. Now, we have seen protesters leave, but they could just be going. There's yellow tape around this, surrounding this area. So some protesters are behind this yellow tape. There's yellow tape on the other end of the street, and there's protesters over there. And then if you look behind me here, there is quite the crowd still from the other protests on the other side of these law enforcement cars. Now, the red van that was here that we showed you earlier that was being towed is now gone. Again, that red van was the car that they believed they would put detainees in, but those tires went flat, so 2 other vans came in and took those detainees away. Spokane Police has told us that there are no more detainees in this ICE building. There are still protesters, and I have not heard from them on whether or not they are going to decide to leave here tonight or when they're going to decide to leave.
And Marissa, probably getting more and more difficult to tell given the darkness that we're now seeing, and you're having to look about a full block to your south there to see where some of those protesters are. Does it look like people are dispersing? And I guess, are they doing it on their own, or police having to escort them out?
They're having to escort them out, definitely. I maybe saw 1 or 2 protesters leave on their own, but for the most part, it was police having to tell them to go away, detaining them if they weren't listening. There were several times that they were on the intercom saying that this was an unlawful, they had a lawful disbursement order and they needed to leave immediately. Many of them chose not to leave, and that's when we saw several protesters being detained. I can't, like you said, really see how far, but from what I'm seeing, there is still a large group.
It looks like we just lost Marissa Rio's live shot. We will try to get back to her shortly here. This is another view from our studio here at 500 West Boone Avenue, where you can see the police presence in downtown Spokane during this state of emergency. And we are now 2 minutes into this curfew that was issued by the mayor. But again, it sounds like from Marissa, things have not changed drastically as far as the number of protesters who are still in that area.
And again, Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown will be holding a press conference at 10 o'clock tonight in regards to these protests that, Kirsten, you said earlier have been going on since about 2 o'clock this afternoon. And safe to say, we haven't seen protests of this magnitude in Spokane in at least a few years.
Yeah, it sounded like from our newsroom, the 2020 riots were the last time that we saw this type of presence and this type of the number of protesters that are that were in the area today. And again, this all started, as you can see on the left side of your screen there, as a fairly small group of people, and grew because there was a pre-planned protest at Riverfront Park near the Red Wagon. So that planned protest really wasn't it wasn't about this specific person who Ben Stuckert was advocating for, this Venezuelan 21-year-old man. That was just about ICE in general. And we know, we've been watching all week, there are large-scale protests in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in large cities across the country, but we did not see anything like this earlier this week in Spokane.
And you were in some of these shots in the video that we were just looking at. You saw former Spokane City Council President Ben Stuckert in some of those video clips. And again, he was kind of at the root of the initial protest that turned into a bigger protest later as things escalated. He was detained by police. We do know he has been booked for failure to disperse. That happening at 8:37, so just under an hour from now is when Ben Stucker was booked by Spokane Police.
And again, this curfew is happening between, we have a map on KXLY.com, but it's between Boone and Spokane Falls, Howard and Division. It's a pretty large area in downtown. And so the people who are centered around that Cataldo area where we saw Marissa Rio live, they may not realize how large scale this curfew is, and they may be getting pushed out farther and farther among those boundaries. But that's not something that our reporters or our photojournalists are seeing. And like you said, Derek, it is dark.
Yeah.
Things are changing, but it is dark and it is more difficult to see what's happening out there.
I'm just going to ask our producer, Stephen, on air right now. Stephen, is this our final segment of this newscast? Oh, okay. We will continue with this broadcast. We've been kind of losing track because we're basically throwing out the whole script for the show and just flying by the seat of our pants here. But again, yes, it's been now 5 minutes since that curfew has gone into effect and is expected to last until 5 a.m. And just, again, remains to be seen if the protesters who are still on hand in this area, as you're looking in the top right corner, that's the Centennial Hotel there. So we're looking at Washington Street there in the area of North River, Cataldo, and again, we are at Boone Avenue, and that's where this image is coming from our tower cam atop our studios, to see if the protesters who are still there will in fact disperse as they've been asked to do.
And you probably just heard our phones ring here inside the newsroom. It looked like one of our photojournalists who was on scene was giving us a call, potentially giving us an update on what is happening with our live shots. So we will get more information for you. Again, 6 minutes into this curfew issued by Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown, who is set to give us a press conference in the next 25 minutes. We will bring that to you live, of course, and we will be back after this short commercial break.
See breaking news in your area or have a story idea? Contact 4 News Now.
So you want somewhere to play? We got you. A nice relaxing stay? We got you. Wanna be entertained? We got you. Wanna play golf all day? We got you. Go to Lake Casino. Go to Lake Casino. Winning is just the beginning.
Style or substance? Somehow, it became one or the other. But there is another choice. Not stopping until you have everything in the GMC Sierra. Or get 0% APR on select Sierra 1500 models. That's over $4,300 in average finance savings. We are professional grade.
Okay, y'all, we got 10 orders coming in.
Starting a business is never easy, but starting at 8 months pregnant, that's a different story. I couldn't slow down. We were starting a business from the ground up. People were showing up left and right, and so did our business needs. The Chase e-card made it easy. When you go for something big like this, your kids see that, and they believe they can do the same.
Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase with the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card from Chase for Business. Make more of what's yours.
You'll love Yachtly Crew, a 7-piece SoCal band who has started a nationwide yacht rock craze. Live at the Coeur d'Alene Casino Thursday, July 3rd. Visit the Coeur d'Alene Casino box office or cdacasino.com for tickets.
Winning is just the beginning.
Watch Chris Crocker, only on 4 News Now.
Back to our breaking news coverage. We are covering these protests that are happening, ICE protests in downtown Spokane, and a state of emergency that has been declared by Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown.
Yeah, let's show you what it looked like a little bit earlier today. This was the scene maybe a little more than an hour ago, maybe an hour and a half ago, at the area of Boone and Cataldo. You see outside the old Bark, the Rescue Pub, the Centennial Hotel in the background there. And this was after an OC, or a pepper-like spray substance, was dispersed into that crowd. And then shortly after, this smoke started coming from the crowd as well, in an effort, I guess, to try to get a lot of these protesters to disperse and move on. This is when Spokane Spokane police were still trying to get these ICE detainees out of their office building and into vans to be transported away.
And it's worth noting, just before this, we saw quite a few people in the streets there, where you see the Spokane County deputy vehicles that were lining up underneath that smoke. There were quite a few people who were being walked away in handcuffs. And in some cases, things did get physical between the officers, the deputies, the agents who were there, and the protesters. So again, now you're looking at a live shot from right now. Things are dark, a lot of police presence still in the area, but not the same scene. No smoke as far as we can tell from our crews who are still there. Still a lot of protesters, though, who have not dispersed.
Yeah, and this kind of all started with former Spokane City Council member and former City Council President Ben Stuckert. That's him right there. He was detained during a protest outside the Spokane ICE office. He organized the protest to stop agents from transporting a young man from Venezuela who had applied for asylum. And this is what Stuckert had to say about it earlier today.
You can't help spend time with them and not understand just what great young men they are. They've done everything right, and they're escaping horrible situations. And then to have them come in for a checkup and be detained illegally is morally reprehensible.
So you heard from Stuckert there, and the difference, I think, that we're seeing from this video before the arrest and when you saw him actually being walked away was both of these protests combined. So we had one that was at the Big Red Wagon in Riverfront Park, and we had this smaller one that you see on your screen now, coming together and really bringing hundreds of people into the same area. And at that point, we had Spokane police on scene, we had sheriff's deputies. This video you're seeing was from much earlier, where that van that presumably was going to be bringing the Venezuelan man who Stuckert was advocating for, they were spray painting it looks like. We didn't see that earlier.
Yeah, the guy just rolled up on his bike, used the spray paint, and then bolted, as you can see from that video. And at 8:37 tonight, Ben Stuckert was booked by Spokane police on a failure to disperse charge. There he is again, being taken away by police a little bit earlier. And now, you know, we were feeling for our Marissa Rio and our photographer Brian Belanger when that OC or pepper spray-like substance was sprayed into the crowd, that you could tell they were having a really difficult time just even trying to talk, because they were having to cough so much. And it was a similar case for a lot of those people in that immediate area, whether it was with that OC or with that smoke that was in the air as well.
And there were warning signs that that was going to happen. As you see here, many of the officers started putting on gas masks, and we heard from our Marissa Rio and Brian Belanger that things were changing by the minute at that time. So yes, again, we know that OC gas, or better known as pepper spray, was, as far as we know, that was what was used. And there's also some smoke that was deployed a couple of times tonight. We also know that from Spokane police that there are no detainees left at the ICE facility tonight. So while these protesters were gathered in that area near the ICE facility, they were eventually moved away, and you can see it as this kind of progressed. They were moved away farther down Washington, and then two white vans came in right there on Cataldo, and we watched live on the air as about 10 people walked into those two vans and were transported away.
And you see a lot of these people being detained and put into handcuffs. It's going to be impossible, you know, maybe even by the end of the night, to get an idea of just how many people were detained or arrested by Spokane police. But we did actually hear from a protester. I wonder if we can play that sound for you now.
It was important to me to stand up for the rights of brown people who were being targeted, not necessarily because they did anything wrong.
And again, that was just one of more than 100. There were hundreds of people protesting today, again, from two different groups converging, and then ending in a state of emergency. And we're still waiting. We are about 15 minutes away from when a press conference is scheduled by Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown, presumably to talk about what has happened here and this curfew and whether it's been successful.
I was going to say, and 15 minutes into that curfew set by the city, which began at 9:30. We will be bringing you Mayor Lisa Brown's press conference at 10 o'clock. And of course, we will wrap all of this up tonight on Nightside starting at 11.
And thank you for joining us for this special edition of 4 News Now. We will send you back to regular programming now.